This is Jeff Mucci with RCR Wireless News. We're in Palo Alto today, and we're meeting with Rad Sethuramen, who is Director of Product Marketing for Motorola. Thank you for joining us today.
Nice to be here, Jeff.
Great. There have been a lot of changes at Motorola over the past couple of years. Help us understand where wireless network solutions fits in the overall Motorola organization.
So you recently saw announcements about two large groups within Motorola. Mm-hmm. There's the mobile devices group that has mobile devices in home.
Right.
Under Sanjay Jha is the CEO of that group.
Mm-hmm.
And in the other side is under Greg Brown, who will be leading, and there's plans announced how these two companies will split over time. Mm-hmm. Greg Brown has the Enterprise Solutions group and the Networks group that is doing the network infrastructure.
Right.
So Wireless Network Solutions is part of the Enterprise Solutions group, and we are really focused on delivering end-to-end solutions for connectivity between a myriad of devices to the backbone of the network, be it indoor or outdoor. And there's a variety of solutions in terms of voice over wireless LAN as well as security and management as part of that group as well.
Mm-hmm. And so in your role as Senior Director of Product Management, why are you in Silicon Valley versus, say, Chicago?
Good question. Actually, we were part of the Symbol acquisition into Motorola. Mm-hmm. And Symbol delivered solutions to a lot of key verticals, which are like the handled mobile computers and barcode scanners, along with the wireless infrastructure division. Mm-hmm. The wireless infrastructure division is based out of Silicon Valley.
Okay.
And really what we are doing as part of Wireless Network Solutions is bringing all of these core network assets into one organization so that we can drive synergies across those assets and drive common solutions to the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. And maybe talk a little bit about the software assets you have, either through acquisition or internal development. What sort of solutions are you providing on the software side?
So let me put that in the context of the overall solution that we take to market. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the challenges as customers face today, I mean, some of the questions that we get from enterprise customers is saying, I'm having a myriad of devices coming into my network.
Right.
And I need to be providing ubiquity connectivity to the network, be it indoors or outdoors, seamless connectivity. Now, once I have that communication going, how do I secure this communication? And how do I make the solution extremely reliable?
Right.
Right. So that's where the security component is important for in a couple of different angles. One is, how do I secure the actual communication itself?
Right.
But also, how do I look at an RF environment and see what are the rogues on the network, what are the intrusion attacks that are coming on the network, and how do I protect the communication against these kinds of attacks? Mm-hmm. And recently, Motorola acquired a company called Air Defense, and very best-of-breed security solution in the market, and rich set of capabilities, both in terms of security as well as management capabilities. Mm-hmm. So if you then take a step back and say, what is our view on management? Mm-hmm. What we try to do there is really to give a holistic view of management. So IT departments and enterprises today are overstretched. They are constantly asked to do more. They have to build networks out for today's needs while with today's budget, but keep an eye for what's coming in the future. So what we try to do from a management standpoint is to say, how can I take the problem to be more of a holistic approach? How do I give a proactive view of what is happening on the network? So let me give you an example. Mm-hmm. Typically, when an IT department gets an email or a query, it's about some problem, something went wrong. But if you can take the problem and say, I'm going to tell you that everything is working well on the network, that's a market change in way how IT deals with problems today. Mm-hmm. So really then it is saying, how can I give tools? So it comes to saying, how do I give tools for the IT guy to say, how do I design the right network? What kind of applications I want to run on it? If I'm going to run voice or video, what is the right network that I need to build out? Mm-hmm. Once I've done that, once I've actually deployed the network, how do I make the deployment process very simple? And also, how do I give a proactive view of what's happening on the network? Mm-hmm. So think of it this way. It really comes down to saying, when enterprises are getting more and more distributed, there are more and more sites. It's like really having an IT expert in every single site of the network. So that a local person who can be a level 1 support guy, when he gets a problem report, they can punch a few buttons on the screen and say very quickly whether this is a problem with my wired network or my wireless network or my client's not behaving well, and do the right escalation to the right person in the higher up in the food chain. Now, an IT expert sitting wherever they may be thousands of miles away from the problem site, but they get tools that give them real-time visibility into the network and be able to quickly identify and troubleshoot a problem. So that really says, if we did a TCO study actually. Now, when you look at the total cost of ownership and take a 5-year view, the cost of actually operating the network is significantly higher than the initial outlay in terms of infrastructure.
Right.
So that's a problem we are trying to solve with our software solutions, is say, how do I secure it? How do I make it manageable? How do I reduce the cost in the network operations?
So we talked a little bit about some of the challenges customers are facing at the enterprise level. Could you talk a little bit about some of the challenges customers are facing at the government level and also at the carrier level?
Sure. On the government level, I mean, one of the trends we are seeing today, especially in the cities, are trying to roll out municipal services networks. And what this is now cities have a similar challenge. Budgets are same or going down, but they want to add new services, make the environment more safer, etc. So there is municipal services networks are focused on driving a lot of, the cities are building up their own networks. And they're driving a lot of city services. So one of the things could be ubiquitous access for law enforcement,
right,
or the city workers. So when they are moving around, they have constant access to the network. And this allows them to run a lot of different applications on that network. So we had an example of a city in Europe that rolled out a network, and they are doing some innovative applications. I mean, one funny example was they were actually enabling their garbage dumpsters to be Wi-Fi enabled. So they actually know when that thing is getting filled up to send a worker or a truck over there to pick up the garbage. So definite value adds in terms of ROI when you roll out those kinds of networks. You asked about carriers.
Right.
I mean, one of the challenges now, you've seen this all happening, even in the U.S. right now, is this whole 3G offload problem.
Right.
Where smarter devices running richer set of applications are clogging the networks.
Sure.
And carriers are looking to say, how do I then use my Wi-Fi network to offload some of this traffic that is happening over there? So we actually have worked, we have seen this happen in emerging countries like, in Asia-Pac as well, where there's a market growth and subscriber growth is significantly putting burdens on the network. So we've had operators in Asia-Pac actually using our wireless network to do kind of digital cities where they can effectively offload some of this traffic onto a Wi-Fi network.
Interesting. So the carrier is actually operating two different networks?
They are rolling out a broad enterprise, wireless network so that they can do some of the 3G services over the data services over a Wi-Fi network.
Interesting. What are some of the other trends you're seeing, and how do you see Motorola enabling solutions for those trends?
So I think on the enterprise side, this whole 802.11n is a major inflection point. And really what is 11n enabling is more capacity to run a richer set of applications, more resilient networks, which means now enterprises are looking at this and saying, now we have technology that makes wireless a legitimate alternative to wired, which means wireless becomes a default access network in the enterprises.
Interesting.
So if you look at it that way, then 11n has a tremendous potential to be the enterprise networking growth story over the next 3 to 5 years.
Right.
And we are developing a lot of solutions. We have a fairly end-to-end solution to tackle this market. I touched upon management a little bit earlier. Enterprises are getting more and more distributed. So it's a matter of running scalable networks to meet those kinds of needs. And if you look at where Motorola has been delivering solutions in the wireless LAN space,
Mm-hmm.
it's been to verticals such as retail, transportation, education, healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these areas, especially in some of the core verticals, wireless has been the network. I mean, if that network goes down, then there is tangible business impact because of that. It's not a overlay network like you'd see in an average traditional corporate enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been market tested as very, very reliable solution. So we bring reliability, we bring scalability, security, and this proactive management
Mm-hmm.
to help customers migrate from existing network to a 11N network.
Right.
And the planning tools that I talked about as part of the management solution allows them to plan for the right network, what they need today, where they want to go tomorrow, and build out that whole story.
Great. Rad, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Jeff.